Pre-season is the most important period of your rugby year for getting physically ready to play. It's where your fitness ceiling gets raised, and it's where the players who prepared in the off-season separate themselves from the ones that didn't. Today, I'm giving you the exact framework to dominate your pre-season so that you can arrive at week one ready to perform. The biggest pre-season mistake that a lot of rugby players make happens before it even begins. The players who dominate their pre-season, they don't arrive at week one completely cold. They arrive having already done some prep. If you turn up to the first session of preseason having done nothing for months but drinking a load of beers and lying in the sun, the entire first block of preseason is going to be your body catching up. You're going to be dealing with aches, pains, potentially injuries. Your fitness is going to be behind. Your body is not going to be conditioned for the training load of preseason. And your injury risk is going to be significantly higher, which is precisely when you can least afford it to be. Start in the off season. It doesn't have to be intense. The consistency is what really matters. Keep lifting, keep moving, just keep the aerobic base ticking over nicely. When the preseason arrives, then you're not going to be in survival mode. You're going to be building, and that is a completely different experience. It's much more enjoyable, it's rewarding, and it puts you ahead of most players that are in your league before the whistle's even blown for a game. If you're enjoying my videos, then make sure to head to the description. Click the link to get my free guide on 28 ways to be a better rugby player in 28 days. It will go straight into your inbox. There's a link to join my program as well if you really want to dominate this preseason. Cheers, now back to the video. Strength is the foundation that every other physical quality in rugby is built on. Preseason is your window to really raise that ceiling. It gives you the training time and recovery capacity to really push your strength and size to a new level. So before the demands of the competitive season kicks in, then get to work on your basic compound movements, the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, the chin up, and build in more assistance and hypertrophy volume to gain some more armor. Load it all progressively week on week. The goal is to arrive at round one bigger and stronger than you were last season, because that strength is going to feed into everything else. Your speed, your power, your ability to dominate in the contact area, and your ability to stay injury-free across the whole season. Size matters quite a lot here too. The goal is, as always, lean muscle that is going to serve your rugby and not work against it. Pre-season is the ideal time to push your training volume and really try and fuel the body to build that armor. And the reason for this is because in season, the priority is going to shift to game day performance and making sure that you can maintain the levels of fitness that you've already built. So make sure you use the off-season window to get big and strong. Most rugby players spend pre-seasons getting fit by absolutely flogging themselves. The best rugby players will get fit and they will get fast. Here's why the distinction really matters. Speed and agility are the physical qualities that create massive moments in a game of rugby. The break, the kick chase, the ankle breaking step that beats a defender and scores a try. They're also the qualities that are most commonly neglected in a preseason in favor of fitness or aerobic capacity. The most common preseason mistake that a player can make is spending most of your time simply on aerobic fitness. Longer duration runs, lots of fitness tests, endless broncos and broken broncos and coat hangers. And all the while, your speed training is getting little to no attention at all. Maybe you're going to do 1 or 2 half-assed sprints as part of your warm-up. And the result of this is that players are going to be maybe more fit, but they're going to be slow. And fitness alone is not going to win games. Speed needs to be scheduled as an absolute priority in your program. The simple and key areas that you need to cover are your acceleration, deceleration, change of direction, reactive agility, and maximum velocity sprinting. You also need to make sure that you're working on your rugby-specific speed that is going to replicate the demands of the game. Don't forget that developing these speed qualities also plays a massive role in your injury prevention. Better mechanics, better body control, and higher tolerance to the high velocity forces of sprinting are going to reduce your risk of any soft tissue injuries happening during the season. Fitness isn't just about surviving a rugby match. It is about the quality of what you do in the entirety of an 80 minutes of a game. Here's how to build an engine that lasts. An aerobic base is an absolute non-negotiable for rugby. It is what allows you to recover from your efforts, maintain your high intensity output late into a game, and also to absorb the really high training volumes that you're going to experience in a preseason without completely breaking down. You've got to build this in layers. Start with consistent, steady state work. Ideally, this will be on feet and running so that you establish your base across an entire preseason. You should do this before session 1 of preseason even comes. As you progress through the weeks, start to layer in higher intensity interval work, and that starts to replicate the demands of a game. Repeated high intensity bouts with periods of recovery. That is what rugby is going to ask of you when you play, and your conditioning is going to need to start to reflect it. A really simple way to start is with simple linear running drills like tempo running, for example. And then throughout the preseason, you can gradually add faster reps, more changes of direction, maybe some down and ups or some collisions to your conditioning drills. A really solid bonus tip for your preseason is to combine on and off feet methods of conditioning to manage the load on the body, but keep improving that engine. For example, you may have training on a Tuesday and a Thursday evening, which contains a lot of rugby and a lot of running. So it may be worth adding an off-feet session on the weekend, and you could use a rower, a skier, a bike, and this will work the engine, but it will take a little bit of load off of the legs. By the time that rugby training arrives in your preseason schedule, your engine should already be built. Preseason conditioning needs to build on that foundation so that you enhance your fitness levels. Getting rugby fit is one thing. Getting your body ready for the physical contact of rugby is another. Don't skip this and just hope for the best when you come into your season. Coming out of the off-season, your body has likely not been absorbing a lot of collisions. That physical robustness needs to be rebuilt gradually, because turning up to the first full contact session completely unprepared for it is definitely how you're going to get hurt. Progress your collision load across the preseason. You can start with grapple and wrestle training, which builds your contact strength and your robustness without the full impact of rugby collisions. Pad and bag work can come after this. You can push intensity while still managing the amount of impact that you have. And finally, you can progress to full contact drilling and game-like situations. These will come later in the preseason block, once your body has had a little bit of time to adapt to that increase in collision load. A quick note here is that your speed and your resistance training, they're also going to really help with your performance in the contact. So you can start to see how all of these elements of fitness are linking up already. This contact progression is going to protect you from unnecessary injury risk. And it means that when you do hit full contact, you're not just going to be surviving, you're going to be ready to really perform in it. Preseason training will break your body down week after week. Your nutrition and your recovery are what rebuild it and get you fitter. Get these wrong and your training is completely wasted. The training load of preseason is likely going to be the highest it's going to be throughout the entire rugby year. That means that your nutrition and recovery need to match it. Preseason is not the time to undereat. You've got to think of food as fuel for the rugby work. If you're not eating enough to support the volume of training that you're going to be doing, then you won't recover between sessions. Your performance is going to drop across the weeks, and the adaptations to your training are simply just not going to happen. Eating well during your preseason, it isn't in conflict with staying lean. It's actually what allows your body to build the lean muscle, develop in fitness levels, and absorb the training load all simultaneously. As a rough guide, target 2 or more grams per kilogram of body weight of protein every single day. Make sure you keep your carbohydrates really nice and high, and this is especially around your heavy training days or training sessions. Eat plenty of color through good fruit and vegetables, and don't let your fat intake drop too low. And as per, you need to drink water. Aim for a clear pea color. Preseason is normally done in the summer months, so this is actually extra important here. Hit those targets really consistently, and the body composition tends to take care of itself alongside the fitness. Recovery is where your adaptation actually happens. Nail the nutrition and hydration. Sleep is going to be the next big lever. 8 or more hours is the target, and it is a non-negotiable, especially when training load is really high. Active and passive recovery between sessions, whether it's a swim, low intensity cycle or rowing session, massage, stretch and mobility, these are all going to help you stay fresher across the entire week and reduce the accumulation of fatigue that could derail a preseason if you let it go too hard. Treat recovery as an integral part of your program. The players that manage their recovery really well will adapt faster, and they're going to arrive at week 1 of the competitive season in much better shape than those who just trained hard and then ignored everything else. If you're not measuring your preseason progress, then you're guessing whether you're getting better or not. Here's how to know that it's actually working. Benchmarking your fitness levels at regular intervals across preseason tells you whether what you're doing is actually working, and it gives you the information to adjust it if it's not. You don't need complex and crazy testing methods for this. You can use the Bronco for aerobic capacity. You can use 1 rep max or 3 rep max for your key lifts for maximal strength. You can do the broad jump test for distance or the vertical jump test for height, and this will test your power. Body weight tracking and progress photos, these will help with your body composition goals. These are all simple, repeatable, they're cheap, but they're also reliable. You might just want to pick one or two of these depending on your main goals and just prioritize them. For example, if strength isn't an issue for you, but your aerobic conditioning is, then don't do the 1RM test, do the Bronco. Time and energy are really, really precious. Test every 4 to 6 weeks, or you can aim for a start, mid, and end of preseason phase test. If the numbers are moving in the right direction, great, the program is probably working. If they're not, something might need to change. Preseason is supposed to be your biggest development period of the entire year, so make sure the data is backing that up and make sure you're making the necessary changes if the data is suggesting otherwise. Preseason done properly, it is the difference between arriving at week 1, ready to perform, and arriving hoping to get through it completely unscathed. Start before it begins. Build your strength, speed, and your engine. Prepare your body for contact. Make sure you do this gradually. Fuel and recover like it is an integral part of the training program, and track your progress so that you know that you're improving. If you want all of this structured into a complete preseason program with the training, the nutrition, and the coaching support all built in, then you can join my program. The link's below. Week 1 is coming, so make sure you're ready for it.